Hello everyone, I'm Drake like the dragon and welcome to Stillwater. Okay. Be discreet, y'all. I'm sorry, but I can't stay here anymore, Nina. I feel like I'm going crazy. Calm down, if we can just talk it out. So many strange things keep happening after another. Every day there's this damn dripping sound. I thought it was just something leaking at first, but I check every faucet, every ceiling, every pipeline, and still, I can hear it everywhere, constantly echoing in my ears. Oh, but the water. I find random pools of water just appear out of nowhere, just like the dripping. But it's at night. It's at night when it comes. I don't know if it's my paranoia, but I swear I could hear footsteps walking along the hallways, walking on pools of water. They walk, and they walk, upstairs, then downstairs, and upstairs and downstairs, and upstairs and downstairs and upstairs. And it goes on and on and on and on like that. But somehow it does come to an end, and it ends, all in front of your grandfather's room. Ooh. I know that this is a lot, but you have to believe me. No matter how many times I clean, it just won't end. I can't stay here any longer. I'm sorry, Nina. It's okay. I understand. Thank you for taking care of my grandfather. Nina, please listen to me. I don't know what's happening around here, but... The woman on the phone cautiously looks around before speaking again, in a hushed tone. Oh my god. Something terrible is lurking through this house. I don't know what it is, but please, as soon as you get back, take your grandfather and just leave this place. I can't just leave, that's my home. Please, Nina, this place, it's not safe. I don't know what you saw, but I can't just leave things like that. It's my home. It's my home. Ooh, diner, 7 a.m. Amid a foggy morning, there sits a man by the corner of a booth. He drinks black coffee and, depending on his mood, occasionally orders a donut. And today, it was just black coffee. Ugh. Same, bud. I swear I've never seen that amount of paperwork in my life. A freaking mountain worth of it. You're a valuable member of our team, Hugo. My foot. I'm starting to believe that I was bamboozled into joining their agency. Ugh. Hugo Lord, age 30, takes a good look at his cup of joe and chugs it all in one sitting. He then continues to grumble to himself about last night's grueling work at the office. I really need to find a different job. As he contemplates his poor life choices, he looks out towards the early mist. There was something inherently terrifying about the fog to him, how it engulfs everything and nothing. Even if it disappears, it always leaves behind traces. Proof of it remaining. Even in a quaint little town like this, I can't even run from my fate, I guess. Hugo finally stares at the compiled newspaper clippings he put together. Some of them from recent events, but mainly all were past headlines of missing persons cases. No matter how many times I see this, it's still just as hard to look at. Fixating case after case, he can't help but remind himself that there is a reason for all of this. An all too personal reason. Seeing strange things come with a price. In the end, I'm the one doing this to myself. Sounds rough. May I join? An annoyingly familiar voice interrupts his train of thought. He slowly looks up to see the one responsible, although reluctantly. Good morning, Hugo. Hello. Hugo scowls and turns away from him. He then gathers the files and shoves it back into the binder. Meanwhile, the tall man takes this as an initiative and sits at the opposite end of the booth. He greets the waitress passing by and orders himself the hefty body breakfast special with an extra plate. As usual, the waitress is happy to oblige and goes back to the counter to relay his order. The man then looks back at Hugo. He sees the empty cup and the now jumbled newspaper clippings. All the while, Hugo is trying to ignore him. You really should eat something with that black coffee. Not ordering any donuts today? I'm fine, Noah. Just not in the mood, okay? Not even a little? There is a momentary silence between them before Noah disturbs it once more. Well, too bad for you. I ordered a big breakfast for the two of us. As if the world could grace Noah with an even more perfect punchline, the food arrives. Damn, that looks nice. Why the hell did you order for the two of us? Just eat what you want to eat. Don't worry about me. Wow, this looks so delicious, right, Hugo? Are you even listening to me? Come on. We both know that if you don't eat now, who knows when you will, and I'm not about to let you faint again. So open wide. Noah DeLeon, age 27, a natural-born charmer, is just as equally persuasive as he is threatening. Love that for Noah. With a pensive look, Hugo finally gives in and eats the generous spoonful without further complaints. But I want to know how he eats it. Like, what goes on your first bite of that kind of meal, you know? It's good. Right? Good food will always cheer you up. Damn him. I got swept away again. I'm not surprised you were swept away. I mean, look at Noah. They're a cutie. Oh, by the way, the chief will be out for a business trip. She mentioned it will be a couple of days. When did she tell you this? I didn't hear anything about it. Yesterday, I think? Yesterday? She told me to sort out the cabinets yesterday. She didn't mention anything about a business trip. I guess it was a pretty sudden one. Well, I mean, she did tell me to tell you. And lucky me, I know where you go every morning. You know what? I'm not surprised anymore. Well, what do you want to do? We technically have the day off. I'm gonna head back to the office. There's a couple of boxes I didn't get a chance to sort out. In that case, I'll come with you. Why? You could just rest for the day. And pass up this opportunity to get to know you better? Quit it. After their enlightening banter, the two of them finish their breakfast, pay for their meals, and head to Hugo's car. As Noah opens the door to the passenger seat, he notices a bloodhound sleeping inside. Aw, look at him! The big dog stirs at the sound of the car opening and lazily stares at Noah. Aw, I'm sorry, big guy. He then closes the door while trying not to make too much noise to disturb its occupant. Colby. At the sound of his name, his heavy-lidded eyes slowly peek to see who calls for him. It is his one and only partner, his human. As if finally realizing who he is or where he is, the old bloodhound stirs up from his sleep, pounces at Hugo, and proceeds to wag his tail uncontrollably. Bark. Good morning again, Colby. Had a nice nap? Colby, 8 years old, Hugo's most faithful and loving partner in crime, has the biggest tendency to just sleep all over the place. Noah, who is witnessing all of this from the back seat, chuckles to himself. He's amazed and slightly defeated at Hugo's sudden surge of energy. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times I try. When it comes to boosting up his mood, no one can beat Colby. The agency, 7:50 a.m. The three headed back to the office. The space just the same as Hugo left it. A decent, organized mess. To his credit, for the amount of boxes he painstakingly went through, he believes he did a fair job. Albeit, could have been better. Wow, you really outdid yourself, Hugo. It looks less crowded. Ah, shut it, will you? I said I was gonna get to it. Thanks, boy. Before Hugo could continue to give deserved head pats, he notices someone. A woman stands timidly, peering outside from the storefront. The woman appears a bit frantic. Disheveled, wearing ill-fitted clothes, she appears to be distressed about something. When she finally makes eye contact with Hugo, she immediately rushes in. Is this like a police department or like a PI agency? That's what I'm not sure about right now. I'm so sorry. I know that the close sign is up, but I saw you come in and Are you alright, miss? I need your help. My grandfather, Before she can continue, Noah swiftly intervenes. It's okay. We'll hear what you have to say. So please, why don't you take a seat? Noah gestures to one of the empty chairs. The poor woman hesitates for a moment before heavily sighing in relief. She then walks toward the corner of the room and sits on the sofa. Can you start off by telling us your name? I'm sorry for earlier. My name is Nina Mortimer. Mortimer. Like of the Sims Mortimer Goth Mortimers? Obviously not, but, you know. I need help watching over my grandfather tonight. Watching over your grandfather? Yes. I'm sorry, Miss Mortimer, but I don't quite understand. Is he in danger? I'm afraid he is. Miss Mortimer, if that's the case, wouldn't contacting the police be better? No! I've tried requesting their help, but they all gave me the same answer. There's nothing they can do about it. If only I knew who Lewis was. Lewis? Nina fidgets at the name. She looks it aside before reaching out from her bag for an antique letter. My grandfather, he received a cryptic message the other day. It didn't come with an address or the name of the sender. However, the only thing I did pick up was that name. As she hands over the letter, Hugo notices her hand is slightly shaking. Whatever lies in this note must have shaken her this badly. Delicately, Hugo removes the content of the envelope and unfolds it. At first glance, it seems like any normal written message. A person named Lewis asking the other, Henry, to come meet him by the lake at midnight, and needing to share something important with him. However, what's eerily striking about this letter is not the message itself. Rather, at the bottom of the page, a sentence far more disturbing is written. I'm coming for you, Henry. Were there any other letters like this? Yes, a few of them. I thought it was a thick joke at first, but this one was different. Up until now, I never heard of anyone by that name. Not a relative or family friend, but they clearly know who my grandfather is. If I don't do something about this, I'll lose him too. Just by uttering the words alone, Nina breaks down. Hiding away her tear-soaked face, she begins to quietly sob to herself. As an act of comfort, Colby sits closely to Nina, while Noah fetches tissues for her. Hugo, on the other hand, is puzzled. This very well could have been a prank, but she seems certain. Certain that whoever or whatever this Lewis... What do you mean, whatever this Lewis person is? Why is it already in, like, a paranormal area? What do you mean, whatever? They're coming. Do you want more tissues? I'll do it. I'll take on your case. For a moment, silence fills the room. Only stares are directed at Hugo until Nina finally stands up and walks toward him. You'll take it? Hugo simply nods. Thank you, thank you! You don't know how much this means to me. We're glad to help, miss. Nina is fine. Well, Nina, we'll do our best. Nina slightly smiles at Hugo before reaching into her bag once more and taking out a note. This is my address. I'll be sure to greet you once you get there, detective. She politely bows once more before heading to her car and drives back home. Once out of sight, Hugo turns to look at his cluttered desk. Still messy, but presentable. I guess I'll have to sort out these later, again. I'm kind of wondering what the granddad did, because this feels like some sort of karmic, paranormal, like, revenge or consequences for something. I don't know. From the ongoing downpour to the quiet hums of the car, they sit in silence. Still miles off from their destination, Hugo constantly checks the rearview mirror. Noah, who usually chats his ear off by now, sits completely still. He looks out to the passing streetlights, reserved and distant. Hey, you're a lot quieter than usual. What's wrong? This is a surprise. Have been looking at me, Hugo? No, you idiot. You just usually talk a lot, that's all. So, do you miss me talking a lot? There is sexual tension here, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Just say it. I didn't want to offend Nina earlier, so I kept quiet until she finished. But it's her last name that had caught me off guard. Have you heard about the Mortimers? They're a pretty distinguished family. Well, they used to be. What do you mean? They've been stuck with so many tragedies that over time people began to believe they were cursed or something. Every other year I would see a headline on the local news about one of the family members' deaths. And you know what's strange? All of them have been labeled as accidents. No foul play, no nothing. Just another unfortunate event for the family. Maybe I understand why she wouldn't go to the police. She probably thought they'd perceive her as paranoid or hysterical. Or worse, crazy. I can't imagine all of this for Nina. And most of all, who knows what we'll find there. Is that why you decided to come with me? Well, partially. I'm more worried about you, though. Think of it this way. I'm the appointed driver. When you decide to do some pretty reckless shit, I'll be there to drive you to the local hospital. Ugh. Besides, two are better than one. Exactly. I was fine with Colby coming with me. Well, have you heard that 3 is better than 2? Ugh. Mortimer Estate, 6 p.m. We're just speeding through this. Damn, look at that frickin'... I mean, I was gonna say castle? Villa? I don't know. Damn. How much you selling this place for? I heard a lot of murders happened, a lot of deaths. So I expect it to be well below the market average for this Victorian-style home. I'll take good care of it. I'll paint the windows black. Passing through the countless dirt roads and steep hills, the estate reveals itself beyond the evergreen. Nestled and tucked away from prying eyes, it stands tall, looming from a distance. Hugo and Noah could only gaze at the sheer scale of the manor as they parked adjacent to Nina's car. Wow, and to think she came all this way just to request us? Man, honestly, but like, what do people do? I don't get it. Like, what do rich people do with their enormous fucking mansions? Like, what do you do with all that space even? Is it not just so empty and echoey and lonely in there? Anyway, it took us more than a couple of hours to get here. Maybe she really didn't have a choice. What do you mean? Come on, she's waiting for us. Immediately after exiting the driver's seat, a sudden sharp pain weighs heavily on Hugo's chest. Gasping tightly at his coat, he begins to gasp for air. His gaze hazes as he leans close to the car. Like a fish drawn out from sea, he desperately heaves. But this ache he harbors pales in comparison to a pain far more excruciating. Is this the house? No. Something far more sinister. Feels it. Someone is watching him. Piercing gaze fixed on him. Like leering at a bug and waiting to strike. I'll never forgive you. What the hell? Damn it, already? I need to hurry or else. Hey, are you alright? Noah calls out to him, snapping him out of his fixated trance. Colby nudges his head against Hugo, whining with concern over his partner's well-being. Colby is definitely an emotional support dog. Did you hear that just now? Hear what? That voice. It was so close to my ear, Is everything alright? Oh, I'm fine. Don't mind me. I'm just a bit winded out from the trip, that's all. I'd be happy to make you coffee at the very least. If it's no trouble. No, not at all. It's the least I can do. Since you're about to die! Once again, the subtle uneasiness from Nina's surfaces. Sorry. But before Hugo could get a chance to look further into it, she walked off toward the front porch without saying another word. Are you sure you're alright? You sounded like you were choking earlier. I said I'm fine. Besides, we're already here. We can't back out now. Listen to me, I think you should... Noah abruptly cuts his lecture short as he notices Nina stopping by at the front door. She stands there silently, as if contemplating something. I know this may sound rude, but I didn't get a chance to know your names. Well, you were pretty out of it when you walked in. I'm really sorry about that. No worries. This is Detective Hugo Laurent. This is his assistant, Colby. And I'm his second assistant, Noah de Leon. It seems so surreal, just like a cartoon. Nina meekly smiles before turning away from them. I haven't been quite honest with you, Detective Laurent. Just like before, as if carefully choosing her next words, she decides that in this situation words are not enough. You'll see for yourself what I mean. And with that, Nina enters the house, leaving the three to follow behind. Hugo is about to enter through the foyer when he feels a tug on his arm. Don't forget what I told you. If something happens, let me know right away. You'll be the first to know. And with that, Noah releases his grip on Hugo. They proceed to head in, not knowing what awaits them beyond the door. Greeted with a brightly lit hallway, Hugo notices that the interior is just as grand. Adorned with floral accents and antique paintings, it exudes an elegant charm found only in a resplendent house such as this. However, Hugo notices something even more distinct than the splendor. The house is much more terrifying inside than out. Please come this way. Bracing themselves, they enter the dimly lit drawing room. At first glance, Hugo could not discern the silhouette situated at the far corner. However, on closer inspection, he now understands the reason for all of Nina's unsettling vagueness. Grandfather, we have guests. Sitting on the armchair is a young man. He is dressed in a white collared down dress shirt, tucked in with black slacks and black penny loafers. Staring only at the window, the young man sits there dazed with little acknowledgement of the people around him. Still, motionless like a doll. Grandpa, these are the people I spoke of. This is Detective Laurent and his two assistants, Colby and Noah. They're going to help us. Even after introducing them to the head of the Mortimer estate, Hugo and Noah could not help but feel unnerved. The man before them is supposed to be frail and older than any of them, and yet here he remains forever unchanging, forever young. They've come a long way, so I'll be making some coffee. Would you also like some, Grandpa? The young man still does not reply back, never glancing at Nina or anyone else in the room, only fixated on the rain. I'll be sure to make a cup for you too. She then timidly gestures to Hugo and Noah back to the foyer. Bearing more questions, the two follow Nina outside. But before they leave the drawing room, Hugo takes one last look at the young man. There is an all too familiar air about Henry Mortimer. His eyes. They're similar to his own. Whatever he must be longing for, Hugo knows it will not end well. Oh. Nina, that man. Yes, he's my grandfather, the one I asked you all to watch over. I know this is hard to believe, but Nina draws something out of her pocket. It's an antique picture of a young man with flicked black hair wearing a luxurious suit. He appears to be poised and refined, a complete contrast to the current Henry Mortimer. This isn't much to go by, but I swear he is the same person. Then why does he look so young? It happened a few nights ago. I was on my way to get a cup of tea when I heard a loud thud coming from my grandfather's room. I was worried that something fell over, so I went to go check. When I opened the door, I found him collapsed on the ground. I rushed to help him up, but when I did, he looked so different. So many things were rushing to my head, and yet he felt so familiar to me. He wore the same clothes that my grandpa wore that night, and his face, I recognized his face. He just looked younger. That was also the same night I found that letter. It was next to him, already opened. I'm sorry again for all of this. No matter who I went to, they either said something was wrong with me or my family. With everything going on, maybe they're right. Why is she crying bubbles again? The pools of water, the dripping sounds, the letter, and now this. Maybe my family is really cursed. They're not. Curses aren't real. Detective. I think we easily get too involved in believing that sort of thing exists. In reality, the ones who fixate on it feeds off of it. Rumors, doubts, lies, all those things are what they want to become real. Deep-rooted emotions like that can't possibly be healed or fixed right away. But like a curse, those emotions drag other people down with them. Personally, I think you were caught up in all of this, but I assure you we'll see this through. For you and your grandfather. Thank you. Good. Now our first priority is to find out more about Lewis. Nina, the letter you showed us back at the agency, do you have it with you? Ah yes, it is here. Do you mind if I borrow it for a bit? I'll be sure to give it back. Of course. I'll check upstairs. Noah, you and Colby check the ground floor. Got it. Before they leave to their own investigations, Hugo grabs a hold of Noah's shoulder. He leans in, close enough for Nina to not hear. A close eye on Mr. Mortimer and Nina. Especially Nina. Okay. I'm counting on you. You too, boy. So they are like PIs. And with that, Hugo heads upstairs, starting his investigation. The Mortimer estate, 11:30 p.m. Should we end it here? I mean, I would love to do the whole game in one video, but I think this was an extremely nice taste of what's to come. I think the ambiance is really good. It's creepy, like it's giving me the chills on some occasion. I'm really interested to find out what the fuck is going on. So, let me know what you guys think. But I'm loving it so far. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this one. And I'll see you super soon in the next one. Bye for now.